Really weird stuff. That's very weird.
Really Weird Stuff is a holistic Twin Peaks podcast. That means we discuss each episode within the context of the series as a whole. In other words, spoilers abound. Welcome to Really Weird Stuff, Episode 3, during which we'll discuss Twin Peaks Episode 2, Zen or the Skill to Catch a Killer. I am Jessica Baxter.
I'm Amy Green, or you can call me Annie Malone, whatever.
And today we are joined by a special guest, Chris Brugos.
Hi, I'm Chris Brugos.
You might remember him from The Pilot. Is my husband.
Yeah, I tend to show up for the good episodes.
Ooh.
This was a good one.
This episode was written by David Lynch and Mark Frost and was directed by David Lynch. A rare David Lynch directed episode. And it's got his wonderful trademarks all over it. It's a beautiful thing. This episode originally aired April 19th, 1990. And it's best known for officially introducing the really weird stuff.
Yeah.
Getting into the weirdest of the weird stuff. There's so many iconic Twin Peaks weird things in this episode.
I can't wait to ask you what the hell mean.
I have some answers.
Is this the first time we saw a glimpse of the Black Lodge?
Yes. We've seen glimpses of Bob before, but this is like the official introduction. He gets a line. He doesn't get that many lines in the whole entire property, so.
Yeah.
I think we maybe even got too much Bob.
Well, those scenes from the Black Lodge, Red Room situation that Cooper's dreaming about were, as we talked about in the pilot, originally filmed for the international pilot that the network insisted on, and they were part of this crazy demand that the network made that they had to solve the murder in one version of the pilot that they could then package as a movie. And it was so stupid. And David Lynch hated everything about it except for the ending, as we know from The Return, is actually a projection 25 years into the future. But in this episode, it's a dream. And in the international pilot, it was, I guess, them about to solve the crime, and it was the future. So
We watched that.
we did. It was bad.
Where they solved the crime in some sort of barn.
It's
weird.
no, it's the basement of the hospital.
It doesn't look like the basement of a hospital.
It doesn't, and it probably isn't, but it's supposed to be the basement of the hospital. It's so weird. Yeah, it's such a strange thing. Mike's like, "Hi, I'm Mike, and Bob is the killer, and he's in the basement right now."
So that's how they solved the crime, that it was Bob, but nothing to do with Leland.
That's right.
Sounds
It plays
great.
it plays horribly, like a bad TV movie.
Did they release it internationally, like while Twin Peaks was airing here, or like did it not really see the light of day?
It didn't really see the light of day because the show ended up being a huge hit.
Oh, okay. So it was the just in case.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
What a weird plan.
Although I don't understand how they could have executed Plan B. Like, how would they know it was not going to be a huge hit in time to make the pilot end with the solving of the crime?
So they were going to air the pilot that they aired in the U.S. no matter what. But then it was a question of what happens after that. If the series is a hit, if it gets picked up, exactly, then they're fine and they've recouped their whatever they... Because the pilot was famously very expensive for the time. So their plan B was, if that doesn't work out, then we'll release this as a David Lynch movie and sell it to Europe, because they won't have seen any Twin Peaks. They won't know anything beyond this is a David Lynch movie. But they didn't need to do that, so they ended up just shelving it for a while until it came out on the Missing Pieces DVD.
Why didn't they make it good?
Well, because it was made under duress, like extreme duress. But David Lynch was like, I do not want to do this. And they said, we'll withhold your $1 million unless you do this. That's what happens when David Lynch is forced to do something. But it's so wonderful because, like, that's the craziest thing about this show in general, is that it really was kind of made piece by piece, but it still somehow holds together so well as a cohesive unit. It's so much
like
happenstance.
It was all planned for 25 years
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. I mean, it's like he was meant to make this show, and he's just listening to the muses telling him how to do it.
Right.
And then all the crazy coincidences of Bob showing up in the mirror and then having to make this thing he didn't want to make, but then it ends up being like an iconic symbol for the lore of the show that ends up being a huge hit. I don't believe in fate and, the gods and whatever, but if I did, I'd be like, this is proof of divinity.
Right.
That this exists the way it does.
Well, it's more like Coop using his psychic powers to solve crimes by throwing rocks. Like, that seems like a pretty good metaphor for how David Lynch actually made this show.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot to saying that Coop is a David Lynch proxy. Of course, David Lynch plays a character on the show later, but he's definitely more Coop than he is Gordon Cole. They might be kind of two sides of him.
It would be so unusual to have someone have two sides.
Yes. He does use dreams all the time in the scripts.
Oh, no.
He just works things out in his dreams. So for him, they kind of are prophetic because they end up working so well. Like, I've definitely had dreams that seemed so cinematic. And I wake up and I'll be like, oh my god, that's an amazing movie. I gotta write this down. And then as I start writing it down, I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense at all. Why did I think this was cool? But when David Lynch does that, he makes masterpieces. It's incredible.
That was a crazy prophetic thing when Audrey says, like, oh, I love this music, isn't it dreamy?
I know.
20 years later, it's like, is this a dream when Audrey is dancing to her music?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Just within this episode, the dream motif is... I feel like there's two motifs here. Dreams and dancing.
Yeah.
And they're kind of connected integrally.
I felt like there was a little red herring motif of, like, oil, like, being spilled. Because, like, Ed spills the oil, and then Pete does, and then in the end...
Oh, the mink oil. Yeah.
I feel
That's
like
really
when
funny.
you got oil on your head was a setup for, like, Coop's crazy hair.
Oh my god, I didn't even make that connection, but it's true. That is not a way a person can get bedhead.
I'm, like, watching him so closely every time they show him, like, tossing around a little bit.
It implies that his hair swoop is so long. I'm trying to figure out the physics of it. It's like this big chunk
just
that's
seems
coming
like
up
he's got
one
a
side,
lot
but
of
he's still
gel
got
in
most
his
of the
hair.
swoop coming over. Yeah, his hair would be like so
like
gross to
that.
touch.
It's like Ace Ventura.
It's like he's got a feather coming out of his hair. It is a little...
Well, I feel like there's something about Mary.
Or that- yeah,
Yes.
It has, like, that other layer now, because it's like...
Oh my god, Coop. He had a different dream right before that one. Anyways, so the motifs, there's dancing, the backwards talking, we'll get to all that. I like this quote from Noel Murray from the AV Club where he wrote about this episode. He said, even now watching Zen, it's hard to get too excited by the clues Agent Cooper finds, knowing that Lynch and Frost themselves didn't really have any idea at the time what they meant. They were much more interested in exploring where they could go with an ever-evolving story than they were in coming up with definitive answers. I think that's all very true, and it's the reason why especially Lynch was so uncreatively challenged in the second season, because they were like, you can't do any of that anymore. You just have to make television with answers. And he was like, that is definitely not my thing. You got the wrong guy. All right, let's get into the episode. It opens on a long, silent shot of the Horne family eating dinner. And it's very noticeable that it's silent because almost every other episode of the show starts with the jazzy Badalamenti. But this one holds off on that until Jerry shows up.
Jerry, back from Paris.
With his fucking sandwiches.
Oh my god, it's just butter and brie, that's it.
Brother Ben, this is the best damn sandwich I ever ate. It's a baguette with brie and butter. I had 4 of these damn things every day I was there.
Best sandwich you ever had.
And there's no way that bread is at all fresh anymore.
Right.
How long has he
In
been
his
traveling with
suitcase.
this sandwich?
Like, look through my suitcase until you find this sandwich.
I just think in 1990 in Twin Peaks, they had never seen anything like that. Although they had Ginny and Jerry.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
You know what this reminds us of? It reminds us of Jimmy and Jenny down by the river.
Do you know what this reminds us of?
Yeah.
I think that's such a funny way to phrase that.
I like that though. I felt like that was a very sibling thing. Like,
Yeah.
It was relatable to it. Yeah. I like
In direct contrast with him calling him Brother Jer.
That was not relatable as a sibling.
I can kind of relate to eating that sandwich 4 times a day if I was in France, though. I don't like French food very much. I think that's like what I would have done.
I love how much Sylvia hates Jerry. She barely says anything.
Yeah, she doesn't say hi to him if she just yells Benjamin.
Yeah, like we talked about this It's interesting that the music starts as soon as Jerry gets there, too.
Right, that's pretty funny. It goes from a long silence to the music, and he kind of crashes in and baby talks Audrey.
Hey, Audrey, Uncle Jerry's back. Sylvia.
Benjamin!
I love that.
Like
I
she's
love
a
it.
little kid.
And then Ben's line as he's leaving, always a pleasure to his family.
Always a pleasure.
I want to talk about how he eats the sandwich.
Oh, yes, of course.
right.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about that. From the middle.
So Ben eats from the middle of the sandwich, which is not the right way to eat a sandwich. Nobody's ever eaten a sandwich that way. I think that he's actually saying something with this. It's like somebody who eats pizza with a knife and a fork. This is an evil person.
Sociopathic rich person shit.
Yeah. There's a sociopathic rich person way to eat food, and that is probably the middle of a sandwich.
I would not want to eat the sandwich the way you people are saying that he should have eaten it.
From the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would want that sandwich cut in half.
Yeah.
Eat it from the inside.
Yes.
I do not want to start out with a bite of the big...
Of the end.
You don't want to have a foot-long sandwich that's not cut in half. You should
Right.
always cut that in half.
Right. If you're not going to cut it in half, then the way he's eating it is closer to how you'd want to eat it. But what's like his plan? Is he going to do it all the way end to end? Like,
And then he's gotta-
going to get through
He's going to cut it in
like
half
a
with
little
his teeth.
beaver.
Like one of those beaver.
He's gonna end up with just like a tube of the crease of the sandwich.
He's not going to eat it like an ear of corn where he rotates it around and sometimes just gets bun.
Where he goes like from end to end, or is he going to like work his way through the middle until it's cut in half?
I'd love to rabbit hunt that sandwich eating and see how that turns out.
How do you think he would eat a banana? We actually do see him eat like celery sticks later in the show. A banana is an interesting thing to watch a man eat because some men don't want to eat it like it's a dick. They will like break off chunks.
Like how you would eat a dick.
Like how I eat. When I eat dicks, I break off little chunks and pop them in my mouth. And that's how I also eat bananas.
Hot. I kind of do want to just see a montage of him eating things and compare. All I remember is that he just eats a lot. Well, the celery, he eats like big celery, I remember.
Hey, he pulls that out of his pocket, of all places to keep celery. It's like his coat pocket, and he
I
pulls
got a
it
pocket
out
full of celery.
and starts crunching it.
And my homeboys do too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they are gonna eat the whole thing, but even if I know I'm gonna eat the whole thing, I still want to cut
I'm
it
not
in
sure they're
Yeah.
going to eat the whole thing. He's
Yeah, why
eating
would-
dinner
Yeah,
already.
He was in the middle of
half. That's a good point.
These guys have a kind of a crazy appetite, though. They're constantly eating throughout the series when they're together.
I assume that Jerry's on drugs this whole time. Later, he's revealed to be a massive stoner. Maybe he is just like stoned all the time and has the munchies. But I don't know what Ben's excuse is.
Oh,
other
yeah.
than maybe he's just like so bored.
It also feels like kind of a bland sandwich. Like you could put, there's so many other things
Oh, yeah.
you can put on a sandwich.
You
like,
gotta at least
Put some
have
arugula in there, or like some mustard, or put some flavor in that shit. Sun-dried tomatoes. Thing you can
Well,
put on
French
there.
food, I think, is pretty boring. It's
Yeah.
like all about how good the ingredients are and how rich and creamy you can make things, but it's not necessarily like interesting spices at all. But it's okay on a brie sandwich. So I really like bread.
Mm-hmm. It's quite a comfort food, and obviously it reminds them of their childhood. So I guess that's what they're going for there. Is they're obsessed with these sandwiches because they're kind of obsessed with being reminded of a simpler time before they were...
Before they're corrupt old men,
Yes, exactly.
which we will see later in the episode.
Yeah.
I feel like
Almost
it's like
immediately,
Jerry's
actually.
the kind of person that's like a very East Coast thing. This is the best sandwich you're ever gonna have.
Oh,
Whatever
totally.
it
It's
is,
very
it's
status-oriented. Talking about his traveling a lot.
I remember when the show was on, my brothers and I like loved Jerry, and I'm like, but why did we like Jerry?
He's really funny. He's just a well-acted
Yeah.
character.
He's a great character actor, David Patrick Kelly. That actor is kind of affable in his characters that he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you really think about his character, like Jerry's not
What
a
do you
guy
mean
that
he's
you'd want to
affable?
know. I mean, I want to
really
fuck
need you
him.
to be affable.
Like when he's banging those bottles in the Warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
So affable.
Aw, I will come out and play.
Hi, yeah.
What are we gonna play?
I do like that they're brothers and he's like a foot short.
They do not have any family resemblance
don't.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Audrey looks a lot like Ben, but there's like a milkman situation there with Jerry, I think.
But they act a lot like brothers. Like,
Well, they grew up together.
I
That
get-
makes sense. That's like a
No,
nature
I
versus
just-
nurture
I get
thing.
the brotherly dynamic that they
Absolutely.
have. Especially when trying to make Jerry feel better. Ben is like, you got a 50-50 chance
Yeah,
of being
he
the
doesn't
first.
even, it's not like...
Yeah.
It's not like, I'll let you be first.
That is very brotherly, isn't it?
Totally older brother.
Oh
me.
my god. And he
Basically,
means that
like,
literally.
I'll let you hold my trophy.
You could have a lick of my popsicle.
You can watch me ride my new bike.
Yeah, he means that literally. They do indeed toss a coin for the first crack at the new girl at One-Eyed Jack's. Apparently, you can get a boat to Canada from Twin Peaks.
Yes, I'm so puzzled by the geography of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely looked on a map, and there are kind of small towns, maybe 20 miles from the border, and maybe like a river, but there's not really like a big body of water that crosses over into Canada from eastern Washington. On a map, there is no river on the border,
Yeah,
but
there's
yeah.
no real
It's not real, I know, but it feels so real.
Does it?
It sounds like you don't think it feels like
I wish it feels real.
Jerry is annoying immediately. His drink order for the
Oh,
bartender is
gosh.
so annoying.
Yes.
I
Just
love
say
how he
two.
orders them.
You do?
I like to order 2 drinks. 1 double scotch on the rocks. And my brother would like a double scotch on the rocks.
That's 2 double scotch on the rocks.
Next stop, rocket science.
I mean, even if you want to order that way, then don't act patronizing about it, because you're
Right.
fucking with her.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't have to be as patronizing as he is. But I do enjoy just the flourish of ordering the same drink twice. Justin dared me to use the word nother in a conversation in a way other than saying a whole nother. There's
It's
only
a
one
whole
kind of
Justin
nother,
thing.
and it's a whole nother. And I said, that's not true. You can use nother otherwise. So we went to order pizza, and I said, I'll have a slice of pepperoni and a cheese nother. And
What?
But it was a similar kind of obnoxious order that Jerry makes at the...
How was that
Jack.
received?
I mean, we got our pizza.
Did they need further
Justin thought it was
clarification?
funny.
Another.
Or did they just roll their eyes at you like that poor bartender does to
There
Jerry?
might have been some eye rolling. And that's the correct response. Everything there is acted perfectly right. Jerry is kind of
Yeah.
annoying
Yes.
and full of himself and obnoxious.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, that's character work.
but he's not as gross as Ben,
Ben
Definitely not.
who gets really far in that sonnet.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. Nor shall death.
Where's the new girl?
He really knows that whole
I like
sonnet.
that Jerry cuts it
Does he
off.
got it? Does he have it right?
Yes,
Oh,
up until the point he gets cut off. The new girl comes in and she bears no small resemblance to Laura Palmer, which is gross. And she seems very sad and troubled. Like, I really appreciate that girl's performance. She does not seem very into it, but she's acting like she's trying to be into it. There's a lot of nuance going on with this bit player. She was obviously cast for her look. You really feel the
Yeah,
menace.
she does a good job of like, what am I doing here? Guess I'm in now.
She was actually working at craft services. And David Lynch just liked her look and brought her in.
Is that...
No,
That's not something you...
that's false. That's a fake fact.
Oh, fake facts. Oh, the other reason why it's creepy is that eventually we learned that Ben did indeed fuck Laura Palmer when she was working at One-Eyed Jack's. And he obviously knew who she was. And then we get to my shut up James moment. That's great Huckleberry Pie, Mrs. Hayward. You've got to shut the fuck up, James.
That's great huckleberry pie, Mrs. Hayward.
Thank you, James.
Kissing ass, doing it insincerely. I don't like it.
I never liked James, obviously. We
Yeah.
say this every time.
Huckleberry Pie is really good, though.
Yeah, but the way he says it is clearly pandering.
Yeah, it's very Beaver Cleaverish.
Yeah, I think he's feeling awkward because they were giving off a lot of Puritan vibes as well.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it's 9 o'clock already, and you're still here, James, and we're going to church tomorrow, remember? And that's where God won't like you anymore if you have sex right now, so...
I mean, I guess they're a little worried just because their daughter's best friend was murdered like 2 days ago. And they know that James was dating Laura. But yeah, they definitely are being weird about it. Will I see you in church? Also suspicious is that their other 2 daughters are nowhere to be found.
Right.
Their younger daughters,
That's
Kirsten
family.
and Harriet.
Tell me where, oh, where is Kirsten?
Hashtag where's Kirsten and Harriet? They aren't at dinner. They aren't at dinner at the Double R the next day.
Yeah,
They're just-
they didn't go to church with them.
Where are they?
Yeah. That's weird.
Um,
My shut up James is when he's telling her, like, oh, this would have happened. We were falling in love all this time.
Donna, I don't think that what we're feeling or doing is wrong.
Why not?
because I think it would have turned out this way anyway.
He went so fast from she was the one, Laura was the one. That was 2 days ago.
Yeah. Isn't it possible that both of you might be just projecting your grief onto each other?
Maybe.
Alchemizing it into a romantic situation. I mean, we know that they're not forever. They do not last, so.
I mean, that's kind of true for teenagers, though, in a way.
That's true. They do fall in love real fast. Feel intense feelings all the time. I actually want him to do the opposite of shut up, though, when they're kissing and she's like, are we going to be together? And he doesn't answer her.
Right.
Like, just say something. This scene, like, fades out with her being like, James, are we going to be together? And he's just like, smooching.
Are we gonna be together, James? Are we, James?
Maybe that's his way of answering.
Not good enough.
Yeah, maybe it's David Lynch saying, shut up, James. Like, he's just like, this guy's not working.
I think David Lynch likes James.
I think he does. I know.
He seems like a nice guy. I'm sure he likes the actor who plays James.
Oh, the actor seems totally fine. I just hate that character, that's all. Alright, now we're in room 315 of the Great Northern Hotel.
Yay.
Coop is fiddling with his whittled whistle.
Toot toot.
He toots just as the phone rings. He knew that was gonna happen. How? He's fucking psychic.
Special Agent Dale Cooper.
It's Hawk saying that he learned that Ronad had just quit her job at Horne's department store right before Laura's murder. Also, he saw the one-armed man, but he lost him.
Did you question him?
Negative. I pursued, but he got away.
Which kind of implies that he gave chase, but he really just walked through a door and then didn't see him anymore and was like, meh.
And you couldn't possibly say, hey, did anyone see that one-armed man go by?
But that whole thing, I think, is a setup for that joke, which I am absolutely convinced is intentional.
A one-armed man.
Left.
But now, here's the
Which
thing.
arm is missing?
Okay, so that's my question. If we said a one-armed man and then he says left, to me that would imply that the left arm is the one he has.
Oh, it's not. It's the one it's
the left
missing.
Well, what would his nickname be? Would it be Lefty?
If he only had a left arm, I would think probably.
I think
Not if he
it
only had a right
works
arm.
for both ways. Like, it's a good joke because it works for both arms. He left,
Right.
or he only has a left arm, or he's missing his left
Or the
arm.
one
Like,
that's
in all
missing.
three ways, it works. It's a versatile, stupid joke, is what I'm saying.
It's very funny, but it's like a thing like what color is the dress or something. Like, I bet if you ask people, it'd be like a half and half. You said a one-armed man and then said, which arm or whatever left. Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Does he have a left arm? Or does he
Yeah, you're right. It does require further clarification. Oh, Coop gets a knock on the door, and there's no one there, but there's a note, and it just says Jack with one eye in pretty cursive. And then he smells it and gets, like, the sweetest little smile on his face. It's so nice. He knows who left the note. And then it's one of the coolest, like, the second lynchiest scene in this episode. And I fucking love this scene for all of its lynchiness. Bobby and Mike driving through the woods, getting that football. There's so much good Lynchian sound design.
The knife click and like the buzzing of
Yeah, when Leo
Leo's
turns on his...
flashlight.
Yeah.
Cash on delivery, Bobby.
That's such an electrical sounding
Not
flashlight.
really how flashlights sound.
Like a lightsaber.
Maybe he was making that with his mouth. It was like actually a lightsaber. You just see Return of the Jedi.
That's canon. Leo was doing a lightsaber sound.
What a dork.
And just the way it's all lit with only flashlights and headlights makes it so spooky.
Right. He really captures that spooky feeling of when you're walking around the woods with a flashlight.
Yeah, it's so
Which it seems like
terrifying.
it'll be hard to get on film. Like, we try to take pictures of campfires.
It's very hard because they obviously did have extra lighting, but it doesn't look like they do. They had to, because otherwise it wouldn't look as good as it does. You wouldn't be able to see the outlines of the trees. Anyway, yeah, it's like that spooky feeling of when you walk away from the campfire to go pee, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get back to the campfire. I'm amazed that they find the football so easily.
Right.
The right tree. Like, how the fuck did they know where the right tree was in the dark like that? Leo is hella scary, and Bobby does a terrific job acting in this scene.
He's so good.
We won't take delivery on the drugs until you get the cash. Do I look like a bank? I appreciate your position. But this thing with Laura, how can I anticipate that kind of thing, man?
Hey, man, Laura was a wild girl.
Tell me about it.
His teenage swagger, but He's also clearly terrified, but he's not gonna back down. But then he keeps asking, do you know who?
Yes, and do you know who?
Do you know who?
Do you know who? A man needs a clean house. Sure, yeah. So do you know who?
So, do you know who?
So Leo says it like, my old lady's been giving it away. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't expect anything better from Leo.
Right.
It's just gross.
Yeah, that's the whole complicated switcheroo thing. I mean, all this kind of doesn't matter all that much other than just to show who these characters are and their relationship to each other. The whole, like, football, empty football, missing cocaine, missing money. The $10,000 is, of course, at the police station.
Who do you think is with Leo?
Who's that? Is there someone with you? Never mind. Toss it over here, quarterback.
I think it's
Hiding
probably
behind
one of the Renaults.
Yeah.
But we never know for sure.
Who do you think it is for you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew who it was.
It was
when
just
they-
a shadowy figure.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
just have somebody lurking in the shadows to make it scarier, or
Right.
to give us an opportunity that could be Leland later, or it could have been the killer that maybe they didn't even know who it was at the time. I think they just wanted to leave themselves something they could use or not.
Yeah, totally. Just sprinkle things in. Sprinkle
Based
little
on my
things in here.
understanding of how David Lynch makes this stuff.
I think that's a very valid interpretation.
Some bakes covering.
Even though Leo is so scary and terrible, I do really like all of his like little football cracks.
Go out for a pass. Okay, just Leah, just run.
Those are kind of funny. And it's also interesting that he says Leo needs a new pair of shoes. There's a whole thing about him like trying to get his shoes clean because he's got blood on his shoes, and then of course when he's comatose later, all he can say is new shoes for a while.
Leo's shoes are his one true love.
He gets really fixated on those shoes. And then he says, go for a pass, and throws the football onto Bobby's 1969 Plymouth Barracuda. I looked it up today. I was really curious what kind of cool muscle car he had, and that's what it is.
That was a great throw by Leo of a deflated.
It's so far.
They run real far, and he like just nails the car
Yeah.
50 yards with a deflated football.
That guy should have been on the football team, it seems
That's
like.
probably why he hates Bobby so much, because Bobby's the quarterback, and Leo's like,
Look at my
I could have been
$1
the
million arm.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Leo's older.
Yeah, he's definitely like a bitter guy about his failed football career.
There's really no indication that Bobby's good at football in any way. Other than he's the quarterback. But they must have the second string quarterback playing all the games, because Bobby's never doing anything.
He's not been in practice in 2 weeks in the pilot, and they don't seem to mind that much.
Yeah. Then we see Ed coming into Nadine's beautiful pink house. He's covered in oil. It's all just a Rube Goldberg device to get him to drop oil on Nadine's drape runners.
Sorry, honey, I didn't see it there.
You stepped on my drape runner.
Well, honey, it was right out in the middle of the floor.
It's great. I love this scene.
I like it too, because I like Nadine. And actually, you know, I can't stop thinking about how you said you don't like Ed, Amy.
I do
And
not
now
like
I'm
Ed,
like,
yeah.
ever since then, I'm like, maybe I don't like Ed either. Like, I never really thought about it much before, but now
I don't know what
I'm like,
there
he
is to
sucks.
like about it.
he kind of sucks.
He's definitely supposed to be one of the good guys.
I
I know
know.
you're supposed to like him, but I don't.
I guess he's a good guy by default in that he doesn't really ever do anything bad.
I think he does, though.
Other than do nothing. Well, he's bad in his
Well,
passivity.
he's like having an affair with Norma sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean...
That's bad.
I feel like he strings his two ladies along for 20 years. Then finally his wife is like, goodbye, and then he's like, hey, look, Norma, lucky you know?
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
And she's like, cool. I was waiting this whole time.
I don't love that for Norma.
Yeah, you're right. I'm really seeing it in a new light now. Oh, it makes me sad for Norma then. What a tragic life she's had.
I know the fandom really loves that, you know, where they end up together in the return. Why did Norma wait 20 years? He doesn't even leave his wife for her. I don't like it at all.
It's a good point. I think I'm coming around with you on that.
That's just their tragic story. But it is sad and pathetic.
See,
to be
I
honest.
feel like a tragic story is like something tragic happened.
Not
like-
people just made stupid decisions for a long time.
He didn't make any decision.
Well, in Greek tragedy, a lot of times the tragedy is because of the person's flaws. So, like, his flaw is being a kind of a pathetic loser who won't do the thing that he really wants to do for his whole life.
Under the guise of being a good guy.
Right. I mean, there's quite a backstory that we learn if you are reading, like,
Yeah.
the Secret Diaries and all the other ancillary
Well, he
stuff.
feels responsible for Nadine's... Well, he is responsible for Nadine's...
Right.
He shot her eye out.
He blinds her.
Yeah.
And I guess the implication is, out of sense of guilt, stays with her the rest of their lives.
Yeah. And there is like a star-crossed happenstance thing to why Norma ends up with Hank.
I think if Ed had ever just said, you know, Norma, I'm never going to leave Nadine. You should move on from me. I don't feel like he really does that.
No, he definitely does not. He's absolutely like, wait for me forever. Or we'll just keep sneaking around and I sure feel awful guilty about it. You're right, that's bullshit.
I love when Nadine like hulks out like
Yes!
machine.
That's her first superhuman strength move. And she does those things periodically. And then it really ramps up when she has that weird amnesia thing. But Nadine has superhuman strength for some reason. They don't really ever explain it. And I love that her rowing machine is such a time capsule of an exercise
really
machine.
Is, yeah. It's also funny that she's doing the rowing machine. She doesn't even have like the TV on or anything. Like, she's doing it like right in front of the
She's
TV.
just doing it.
It's not even on.
That's true.
Rowing machine is the worst.
Well, maybe she's just thinking about her invention. She spends a lot of time just thinking about stuff.
I was up all night working on that invention. I'm going to have the world's first 100% quiet runner.
So the rowing machine is kind of like a drape runner. I mean, it's kind of like a lot of the same mechanics.
I bet she finds it very meditative.
Yeah, it was creatively stimulating for her to be rowing.
It does make a noise. And she's like,
Yeah.
Which, it must be annoying to her. She probably wants silent rowing.
She's gonna get on that
balls
next.
on that.
Oh, I love how she yells, "You make me sick" at Ed, too. That's just a very funny delivery on that line.
Well, I'm real sorry, Nadine.
Ed, you make me sick!
Too many donuts. Setting up...
Why? There's so many donuts. There's like 5 people there.
Yeah.
Right, again,
Everybody's setting up for Coop.
More crimes against pastries from Lucy, I presume.
I wasn't able to count, but I kind of stopped around 4 dozen, just counting the stacks.
For 5 people.
And no one needs any donuts the whole time they're there. They're drinking the coffee, but it's just like part of their ritual of police work is wasting massive amounts of donuts for some reason. Or maybe they just get eaten eventually. They're not stale enough
They
yet.
better not be eating those donuts 3 days later. Oh my god.
I know, that's very... There's so much bad food eating on this show.
Yeah.
They really enjoy food. The food is great.
Yeah.
It's great pie. Everything's so good.
Yeah.
But they do never say, like, these donuts are really good, I don't think. Maybe
No.
Maybe they're very stale.
Maybe they're bad, but they still can't help themselves.
They're just prop, I guess. I mean, literally
Yeah.
they are props.
Well, I mean, I know it's hard for characters to eat on screen and still, you know, say their lines, and you have to take time out for them to chew and swallow and have it not be gross and stuff. But I think it is really funny when Coop shows up at the station and everyone's got a donut in their mouth.
Yeah.
You don't really see that much donut eating again after that. At least not in this episode. Anyway, they're drinking the coffee. We're just seeing everybody set up according to Coop's parameters. He's got like an easel and tape measure and bottles and box of rocks.
This 60 feet 6 inches thing is.
And it's all part of his dream,
But
and he's
but that's like from a pitcher's mound to home plate.
Oh,
That's odd.
look at you!
Baseball
I used to be so into baseball.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad because I never in a million years would have known about that.
It's obviously intentional, but it's like a little puzzling to me. Like,
Yeah, why would the Dalai Lama come up with that? Is the Dalai Lama really into baseball?
Maybe.
Some people who are really into baseball think there's something mystical about it. It's kind of like a Bull Durham, you know. Like,
Yeah.
People like to use it as a metaphor.
Oh, they sure do. White men especially.
Oh,
So I
yes,
can
only.
see that. I'm very grateful that Coop doesn't very often talk about baseball or ever.
I really love that he drinks the coffee. Like his line, like, damn fine coffee and hot.
And hot.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
He had no time to taste that coffee before he spat it out because it was too hot.
Well, I like to think that is called back when Dougie Jones sips the coffee in Janie Jones's kitchen.
Dougie!
Hi.
I feel like that's a callback.
Yeah, it's wild. I feel like you see so much Dougie Jones if you're watching for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, his work as Dougie is pretty amazing. And his work as Mr. C.
He should have gotten all the Emmys. He should have gotten 3 Emmys for that, but he didn't get any. Now we're at the Johnson residence. Real quick, Shelley turns off Invitation to Love. Seems like it's just starting, but she turns it off.
Maybe that's why she turns it off.
She doesn't want to watch it.
Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah. There's a really funny picture of Leo on the TV. or nearby. It's Bobby, her big bad bobcat.
Yeah. Bobby giving himself nicknames left and right.
He's really trying to be sexy. He's feeling stuff out. He's like, what do you think of this? Big bad bobcat. He's weirdly confident. Don't worry, I saw Leo driving the other direction. We have at least 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that's not very much time.
No, he was already putting gas in his truck.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's going to take him 20 minutes. Like, I don't think that's how long it would take him. Seems like an overestimation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are pretty big, but 20 minutes.
He says at least 20 minutes. He thinks Leo's going to take forever. I mean, maybe it's like far away. The gas station's far away.
Right. Or else
Yeah,
maybe
but so was
if
he
saw
when he
him.
was there.
Yeah.
But
He's in his Barracuda. He
I
can
thought
drive a
he
little
meant
faster.
At least 20 minutes because he doesn't know what else Leo might be doing. He doesn't know if Leo is planning to come straight home after
Right.
gassing, dieseling up the
Dieseling up the truck takes 20 minutes, and then anything else is on top of that.
It's reckless. Characteristically reckless.
Shopping.
Yes, he's very reckless.
She doesn't really want to let him in, but he kind of forces his way in and sees what happened. And I really love the way Mädchen Amick delivers the line, Leo Johnson happened.
Right.
It's really well done, in stark contrast to the next thing she says about, he'll kill us both. That's not very well delivered. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe David Lynch wanted that kind of soap opera style delivery.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely going for soap opera.
Yeah.
The Invitation to Love.
But it's just so sincere with the Leo Johnson happened thing. She really puts a lot of pathos into that line.
I like Bobby. If he does this to you again,
Yes.
Leo, you get one strike.
Well,
That's a favor to me.
I don't think Bobby really means it, but maybe he does because, as we know from Fire Walk With Me, he did just kill a guy like 2 days earlier.
Right.
Bobby killed a guy.
Bobby killed the guy.
Bobby killed a guy.
He did kill a guy, but I think that's a weird response. Like, oh my god, he did this to you. Now I'm gonna kill him. If he does that again, then I'm gonna kill him. I mean,
I know.
imagine yourself in that situation.
Yes.
He's not all that committed to
He's got
killing
one
me,
more
I mean.
chance. He took his
Yes.
kill again.
I think if you called this bluff, he would probably not end up wanting to kill Leo.
He does want to kill Leo, but it takes a lot more times of him doing that before he does something. Bobby is a kid, basically. He's like 17 years old.
Bobby is in way over his head in so
Yes.
many ways.
This is a kid trying to be a man, and the only way he knows how. And it's not like anything that Major Briggs has ever taught him has prepared him for this kind of thing.
Right.
No, I disagree. Major Briggs is great. Like, what a
Yeah, but
what a
Major Briggs
dad.
didn't prepare him for
This
the...
situation.
I think he's prepared Bobby for everything. Bobby turns out great.
He does.
He has a great arc.
But at the
He's
moment, he's not doing that great. He's
No,
kind of
He's still a kid, but he doesn't.
flying by the seat of his pants.
He's no Big Ed. He doesn't end up 30 years from now still like a kid who can't make decisions.
He does kind of have some sad shit going on, but I feel like he's mostly okay. He just, Shelley's got some baggage. We don't really know too much about it, but she does seem to have a type. She likes a bad boy, and Bobby got too good.
Right.
The magic guy.
Magic motherfucker.
Magic motherfucker.
Okay, and then Ed comes into the diner, and he's like, I'm in that doghouse again.
I
And
hate that too. Like, why does the woman you're having an affair with who has loved you forever, but you're married to someone else, she wants to hear about that?
she
The dog
seems
house
like
is
she
not
does.
right. I
She
know,
leans
I
on her
don't get it.
hand and listens to his tale of woe. Norma needs something.
I mean, I feel like if she likes that, it's because it's like, okay, they're on the rocks, and then she's kind of negging Nadine with her, like, oh yeah, she was going on and on about her drakes. And
That's true.
Like, oh, that old battle axe.
Yeah, she wants to win Big Ed. Don't know why.
The gas farm.
She wants a double R. Why does she need a gas farm?
She doesn't want the gas farm.
is just so interesting. I love the gas farm.
Like the
I like
signage.
the signage of the gas farm is just amazing. I don't think anyone would want to stop there for gas though. Like you see that sign.
That looks like a murder gas station.
Yeah, you're like, nah. I think I'll
we
keep
have
going.
enough
They maybe
to-
have a Shell or something around
Yeah.
here. It might be the only gas station.
I think they do at some point say that it's the only gas station for a while. I mean, Coop is running on fumes when he drives into town. I assume that he would have stopped for gas earlier if he'd had the opportunity. Fuck Me Gently with a Chainsaw. Did you know Andy Malone and Jessica Baxter have another podcast with Christina Barr? It's called Paid in Puke. They discuss female-driven films through a Heathers theme. Movies like Promising Young Woman, Josie and the Pussycats, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Carrie, and of course, Heathers. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. I promise it'll be very.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it up.
All right, we're back at the Tibetan deductive technique that involves throwing rocks at a bottle when saying each name that starts with a J that's written on a blackboard, while Harry says what everybody's relationship was to the deceased Laura Palmer.
I have a question about
Yes.
So Hawk's job in this situation is to hold the bucket of rocks while wearing kitchen mitts.
Very important job. Yeah. I have a fun little anecdote about that, actually. I would say everything means something, but sometimes it doesn't. Because Michael Horst, the actor who plays Hawk, says he asked David Lynch why the oven mitts. He's like, what the hell does this mean? And David Lynch said, nothing. I just wanted to see you in a pair of oven mitts. So, yeah. Sometimes he just gets an idea. He gets an image.
Yeah. I don't think he likes explaining his ideas much. I mean, we've definitely heard
he famously does not.
He may have some idea what that idea was about, and he's just not saying.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I also do think that he doesn't necessarily always know why he wants something a certain way until later. Mm-hmm. He's just like, I had this image of Hawk holding a bucket with the oven mitts, and that's what it's going to be. And at the time that Michael Horst asked him, he didn't know.
Maybe he didn't want anyone else to touch the rocks other than Coop.
Yeah, that's similar to what I was kind of getting. I get the sense, like, he didn't want anyone else's psychic energy near these rocks. He wanted to keep them pure.
Because he selected the rocks himself.
I didn't remember that detail.
Well, I don't know. But I assume he did, because he came with the bucket of rocks. Right. We never see anyone collecting them for him. And they're all, like, really nice rocks. They're all, like, skipping rocks. They're all very flat and smooth.
You do have a good eye for rocks. You can look at a rock and be like, that is...
I like a nice rock. It looks cooler wet, but...
I mean, I feel like they all land meaningfully. Although it is like, what if he had said Leo second? Like, was there another bottle? Like,
if he know to write Leo last because he had an inkling that was the one
right, for dramatic. Right. I bet he did. I bet he was like...
He didn't know he did,
or
but
did
he
did.
Yes, exactly.
Why did Shelley's ricochet and hit Andy in
I
the
feel
head?
like it ricochets because she's connected to Leo.
Yeah, it's adjacent.
No, ricochet. Okay.
Yeah.
She's Leo adjacent.
That's my biggest... Well, my second biggest ACAB moment is when it hits poor Andy in the head, and Harry just uses it as an opportunity to call Andy stupid.
Aside from the basically establishing Harry as a jerk again.
He's so shitty.
It's just not like a funny thing to say.
It didn't hurt a bit. Where there's no sense, there's no feeling, Andy.
It's just mean and not funny at all, and...
I think they work on that bit, though, and they keep having Andy get hurt in the show. Not this particular episode.
Yeah.
And it gets funnier and funnier. Like, his kind of, like, chicken dance is, like, epic, and I love it. That he does much later.
When he gets hit with the board that pops up, yeah. I think he's never the same after that. I think he actually suffered a serious concussion at that moment, and no one checked on him.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
He's getting concussed over and over again.
Head trauma. I really think it's cute the way Lucy says, I'm getting excited.
Getting excited.
When she's got the chalk and she's at the chalkboard.
Lucy's good.
I love how they're just all on board with this, you know? Like, they lean in when he starts talking about Tibet. And they're all like, this is what we're doing. And yeah, Lucy's very...
I mean, it's probably the most exciting thing that's happened ever. Usually they're doing, I'm sure, like, a lot more boring and depressing stuff. So I can see why this would be fun for everybody. And then Harry is, like, so into it. And he pulls Coop aside and they have that real close conversation where he's like...
The idea for all this really came from a dream? Yes, it did.
Yeah, there's a lot of flirting between Harry and Coop in this episode, actually.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Have we gotten to the nose?
We're not at the nose booping yet. Because first we have to go to a really awesome scene. The Double R and the Hayward family are enjoying a quiet post-church meal without Gersten and Harriet. Tell me where, oh, where is Gersten? But with Donna, their favorite, and Audrey comes into the diner and pops her song on the jukebox, orders a cup of coffee, and is just sitting there daydreaming about Coop and sipping that black coffee. Meanwhile, Doc Hayward is having a riveting conversation about light bulbs And Donna's like, I'm gonna go talk to Audrey.
He has to go buy light bulbs because nobody's selling them door to door.
That's a good point. It's the light bulbs come up again. If only there was some service where they would bring them to you, to your door.
Like $10,000
at least in like a day.
Yeah.
Real fast.
I love the conversation that Audrey and Donna have.
It's so cute. It's a nice one.
Do you like coffee? Yeah. Cream and sugar. AJ Cooper loves coffee. Audrey. But Agent Cooper likes his coffee black.
Donna generally is not my favorite, but...
Yeah.
She so often has to act with James.
That's really true. I wonder how much I would love Donna if she had more seed partners than James, for the most part. She really just does end up being like, James, what about everything, James? What about us? And that's like all Donna does. It's sad. Anyway, we learned that Audrey went to church that day, which is interesting. She's working through some shit.
Yeah, I came by because of Laura. What do you mean? I didn't even think you liked her. There were things about Laura I didn't like. But she did help to take care of my brother Johnny. Guess I sort of loved her for that.
It's Sunday. Laura died the previous Thursday, so it has not been that long. She's mostly talking about Cooper, but then she kind of out of nowhere is like, did Laura ever talk about my father? And Donna says no. And then she won't elaborate, but she does say that he used to sing to her. And that is just, there's so much there.
Yeah.
Like, how do you mean? Well, ooh, when, where, why? Yeah, it's gross. And then Audrey changes the subject and says that her song is, Isn't It Too Dreamy? Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And then she gets up and does her dance, which is like a sexy little girl's dance. It's a really interesting mix.
When she and Donna are talking about, like, the coffee, they really capture, like, how a teenager is both a child and an adult.
Yes!
You know? It's like, do you like coffee? Yeah, with cream and sugar. But Agent Cooper likes it in black.
Totally. And we don't even know if Audrey likes it that way. She really has only taken one sip, but that's not why she's drinking it. Not because she likes it, but she's trying to get into the mindset of Cooper. Albert is here.
Hey,
Albert Rosenfield.
Albert?
Albert. Are we gonna have to stand here all afternoon?
No.
Albert Rosenfield.
I just love Albert. I know everyone's like immediately put off by him, except for Coop is eating this shit up.
Yeah.
But he just likes the chaos, it seems.
He does. Yes, because he also loves when Harry, like, tells him off.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I can't choose between these two. I
He's
love
just
them.
so entertained by these two guys. There's something there. He's like really getting off on their fight. It's interesting that he says Albert's lacking in social niceties. I feel like that just gets Harry's dander up before he even meets him. He's just...
Yeah, he's prepping him for Albert being a total jerk, which he is.
He is, yeah. I mean, I think he would have got it.
No, he does not.
I mean, I love Albert.
I love right.
But he's definitely, like, very cranky right now. And taking it out on Curly.
I mean, yes,
I can hear perfectly
so
well,
rude
Curly.
For no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him. I love Albert. It's one of those things, you know, sometimes there's a character that you love on the screen, but if they were real, you would not love them. You know, if they were someone you actually had to spend time with, you know. Like, if someone talked to you like that, immediately, the second that you met him, like, I don't have all day. Like, what?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah. You're right.
It's funny. But you can't think too much about how he would be not pleasant to be around.
Yes. But it's just interesting, too, that Harry's like, this guy's insufferable.
He knows that a lot in the return, Albert.
Yeah. He's gotten a lot more patient. He's so patient. I think he's pretty patient with Gordon always. So I wonder if he just saves all his patience for Gordon, and then he just has none left for anyone else.
That makes sense.
I mean, I think he definitely respects Coop, though.
I think that's true. How could you not? Except that I don't know why he's so into them hating each other. But yeah, right before Albert comes in to meet them, Cooper and Harry are having their fun little flirting over a bloody rag that was found at the crime scene. Really weird date.
Harry, Albert, and his team are cream of the crop. Albert's a forensics genius.
They're working for you. I wouldn't expect anything less.
But I gotta warn you, Albert's lacking in some of the social niceties.
Nobody's perfect.
Isn't that the truth?
All right. Coop puts his hand on Harry's shoulder, and Harry looks at it. And then Coop boops him on the nose.
That is the greatest thing. He makes a little perfect. Ain't that the truth? What on earth? But I think that
But Harry loves it.
part of why Coop is just eating that up when they're interacting is because he genuinely likes both of them and they are both being their true selves, you know? So that's why he loves it. It's like Albert's being Albert and Truman's being Truman, and I just...
Yeah, Truman's throwing around homophobic hate speech. I love that.
I hear that you're real good at what you do.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, that's good. Because normally if a stranger walked into my station talking this kind of crap, he'd be looking for his teeth 2 blocks up on Queer Street.
That's my bigger ACAB moment.
Yeah, Queer Street is 2 blocks away from the police station.
Is that a note you took?
Yeah. I just want maybe it's near the department store. I want a map of Twin Peaks. Where is Queer Street?
It's 2 blocks up, he says. Doesn't say which direction.
Queer Street.
That's towards Canada, maybe? I really like your point about Coop just enjoying people's, like, essence. Later, he talks about the hard life that Albert lives.
Albert's path is a strange and difficult one.
He's kind of reacting to Albert's, like, grumpiness and meanness. Mm-hmm. But he's, like, sympathizing with Albert, like, having to be so mean. Like, he's, like, sorry that somebody has to be such a mean person.
Yeah, I mean, Albert's clearly effective at his job. Coop's already talked about how effective Albert is. He's the guy to send things to. He's kind of grumpy because he's looked at the coroner's report and it's amateur hour, he says. He doesn't really elaborate, but it's not how he would have done it. So he's frustrated by that. He's got to come in.
And he also, like, knows he doesn't have a lot of time because they're going to bury her. And we find out later he would want more time with the body.
He's mad at, like, the distance he had to go to get here, which is...
Yeah,
like,
he just got off a plane, probably.
Somebody didn't do that on purpose. It's not the problem that they live where they live. And the murder happened where it did.
He's good at his job, though. I don't know. It's a struggle, I'm sure. We're back at the Hurley home. I guess Ed's come home after his coffee. And Nadine is so excited. And it turns out that his big lug actually led to a breakthrough on her silent drape runners. And I do love her face when she's operating them.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
It's really funny.
She's so pleased. And then at the Blue Pine Lodge, Catherine and Pete are getting ready for bed. Pete is talking about Coop and Harry, who stopped by while he's polishing his boots.
I had a problem with a fish. Took a liking to my percolator.
I feel like he suspects her of putting it in there. Yeah. He's kind of doing a lot at once. It's interesting that she doesn't really detect a suspicious tone in his voice.
What did that FBI man want up here today?
Very nice fellow. Asked a few questions.
About what?
Oh, well, he talked to Josie mostly.
What did he want to talk to Josie about?
Why don't you ask her?
His voice is moving all around the room, and she's just in the bathroom, I guess.
The way he says, like, you should ask Josie yourself.
Yeah.
Is really unlike him. He almost has, like, a weird, sophisticated accent when he says it. It's really... he is acting very suspicious.
Yeah.
But not, like, in a stereotypical way.
Yeah, he's just not used to, like, sneaking around, really. But he wants to help Josie. And he definitely doesn't trust Catherine, even if he loves her. He's getting Josie the key to the safe, which contains the ledger. She thinks it's just the one ledger, but then Josie finds out that it's 2 ledgers. And then they have a funny exchange, Catherine and Pete, about don't polish your boots on the bed, which I think she makes a good point of, like, don't put your boots on someone's bed.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Get your boots off my bed and go to your room!
I didn't want to get mink oil on my bedspread.
You've got mink oil on your head.
He didn't want to get the mink oil on his own.
Yes, but that's obviously just like a snappy thing to say.
Oh, I mean, why do you have to do it on the
Do it at the table. Or anywhere, yeah.
Floor, put the newspaper down.
With the, yeah.
That's not a thing. Polish your boots on a bed.
But it's all a setup for her to deliver her sick burn. You've got mink oil on your head. She's so rude and mean the way she says, go to your room, go to your room. So yeah, we learn they have separate rooms. Love is definitely lost between these two. At the Palmer residence, Leland is really Lelanding the fuck out.
He is not doing so good at the
It's some great Lelanding.
He puts on Glenn Miller's Pennsylvania 65000, which is such a weird song choice. It's interesting because I looked up if it has lyrics other than Pennsylvania 65000, and there are a couple different versions that have lyrics. One of them has a verse that's, I got my shoes shined up and my hair slicked down.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
And it's interesting.
That's happening in this.
Yeah, his hair is
well,
not slicked down.
Right, but we just.
Oh, shoes shining.
He was just shining
Yeah.
his shoes. And then Cooper's hair is slicked down until he wakes.
Oh my god, you're right. Even when I wrote that down, I didn't even realize. Yes, oh my god. It's interesting that they didn't choose the lyrics version then. It's just the annoying refrain.
I remember hearing that song a lot when I was a kid and thinking it was like insane. It's just like
it
people
does seem
yelling
insane.
Pennsylvania 65000
Yeah.
between like 8 bars of music.
And they're very
You
repetitive.
should do that one in karaoke.
Oh my god, you should not.
I'm sure Ivan would love that. Like, I love it when people pick this.
He picks up Laura's picture, her homecoming photo, and there's an amazing shot of him spinning around in a circle, like the camera over his shoulder on the photo, and he's just kind of got a low moan that turns into a straight up yell, which brings Sarah into the room, and she's like, oh my god, what the fuck?
She asked a really good question.
Yes.
So what is going on in this house? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, he's racked with guilt because he knows he murdered his daughter. Part of her knows he did it too, but she isn't ready to admit that yet. She knows some shit's up. For the way she's freaking out, he's kind of confirming her suspicions, and she is pretty unhappy about it, as you can imagine.
Right.
They fight over the picture, and then the glass gets broken, and it cuts Sarah's hand, and then he, like, scoops her blood off her hand.
Right.
And then is rubbing that on Laura's picture.
Well, it's like he's the one with blood on his hands.
It's
But he
very
just
tragic.
Kills it.
He absolutely does.
Yeah, Ray Wise is just so good.
And her scream is so good, too. Like mother, like daughter, with the epic screaming. And the way she grabs her head. There's not a lot of these two in this episode, but I think it's just because they pack such a punch.
Right.
It's so
We
rich.
just have to
You
check
can only have a little bit.
What's going on with the Palmers right now?
Right. Again, it's like it could just be the grief. That's what we kind of think at the
Mhm.
time. But now we know who did it. We were like reading a lot into it.
Yes.
Right.
And it's all there. You know, the question of like what's going on in this house. Like the house is actually like haunted, sort of.
Because they're kind of both possessed.
Right, and so I didn't think that Sarah was possessed until the return. They sort of explained away her.
Yeah,
not
she's just
knowing
kind of
what's going on 'cause
psychic at this
Bob
point.
was drugging her and keeping her
Yeah.
unaware of what Leland was doing.
However, she's the girl in the return that has that little frog crawl into her mouth.
Exactly. Yeah, and she has some weird shit that happened. Some
Right,
real weird
she
shit
opens
for
up
her.
her face.
Yeah, when she opens up her face, that's pretty weird.
Yeah. Well, she's just full on Judy, I think, at that point. But I don't think she's always Judy. I think she's had moments of possession. And Judy's just really attracted to her despair. And she's had the despair ever since Leland started being possessed, which I think is the whole time. Like, as a child, he was visited by Bob, so. I mean, I almost feel like it was an arranged marriage by Judy, in a way. Just like I found these two very susceptible people. Okay, back in room 315 at the Great Northern Hotel. Coop is asleep and dreaming. He's dreaming about Mike, the one-armed man, who's talking about is missing his left arm.
Old lefty, you call him.
He talks about Bob and how he and Bob used to pal around together and do bad shit, and then he saw the face of God, he says, and he had like a tattoo that was possessed, kind of. And he cuts off the arm, took the whole arm off. And that becomes the man from the other place, which is funny. But we don't know that for a while. That's his arm just bugging around in there. And he recites the Fire Walk With Me poem.
Through the darkness of future past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds. Fire, walk with me.
That's Al Strobel that plays Mike, and he's like a local actor.
Oh.
I think he still lives around these parts. He's so flirtatious with his delivery. He's like doing a lot of tongue work.
I, too, have been touched by the devilish one. But when I saw the face of God, I was changed.
He says he felt so guilty he cut off the arm, but he's also like kind of remembering the shit they did together and having delicious, sexy feelings about it.
We lived among the people. I think you say convenience store. We lived above it.
And I like how he explains, like, I mean that like it sounds.
Yeah. Like,
we
it was
really lived above
literally.
it. Like,
Yeah.
We didn't just physically live above it. We, like, lived above everything. It's really funny that he like, gets into it. But yeah, he does have a glee about explaining it.
And how he's like, I think you would call it a convenience. We're like, what would you call it?
Right. He's really showing, like, he's not of this world. He's like,
Yeah.
how do you say convenience store? I'm French.
He talks about Bob, and then we see Bob doing his little ritual.
Catch you with my death bag. You may think I've gone insane, but I promise I will kill again.
I'm glad the death bag didn't catch on as much as Fire Walk with Me.
Catch you with my death bag.
Yeah, Death Bag didn't need to be the sequel to Fire Walk with Me.
It's not the greatest thing to say.
poem.
And his delivery isn't all that great. Well, and then his, like, you may think I've gone insane, but I promise I will kill again is a little silly, too.
D rhyme.
He just says again. He doesn't say again. But when
Again.
I just feel like you have to make the two words rhyme when you have a couplet like that. The near rhyme just never works for me. And then we're in the Red Room with Coop and really kind of terrible old man high school plays stage makeup. Yeah. It's fun when they reshoot that for the return and he's just Cooper now. And the man from the other place has got his back turned to him and he's doing this hand thing. And then also you see a shadow on the curtain that's kind of that fucked up
sort of
owl,
like a weird owl
image.
shape.
Yeah, that's Judy. Like the fucked up one is Judy. The owl cave one is the owls are actually spies. And sometimes Bob isn't an owl. But Judy is like the fucked up owl. I don't know. So she's there, I think. And then just like a series of just iconic lines.
Right.
Let's rock. That gum you like. She's my cousin.
What's the deal with the gum?
I feel like I know her. It's a future clue because Leland talks about gum.
When there's a reveal, that's like right before the reveal to Coop that it was Leland, right? Is it the giant who says it?
Well, the giant is the old man waiter.
Oh, right.
He's like one and the same.
And he says that gum that you like is going to come back in style.
And Leland goes off on like a memory of gum from his childhood. And that's when Coop knows.
Like that, it's that blackjack licorice.
Yeah.
Delicious. I love black licorice.
That is a good gum. They sell it at Bartell sometimes.
Yeah.
And then like the backward filming and
so cool.
It's
great. So fucking cool, and it really makes you think about the process that the actors had to go through to do it, but also it keeps you in that, it sets the fucking mood in such a profound way.
Right.
There's not that many things where you're thinking about the process and completely immersed in the world at the same time.
Right. It's just such a cool idea that he executed in such a neat way.
Yeah.
He has trouble with the word exactly.
She's my cousin, but doesn't she look almost exactly like our farmer?
I imagine trying to say the word exactly backwards.
I know, some of the things he says,
weird.
I'm like, how did he say that? Almost exactly.
You know, cacks that. Play that backwards. I want to see how close I got.
But I definitely have to fix that in post.
Yes, you guys want to give it a shot? We can see if we can get closest to exactly backwards.
Okay. Yeah, oh my god, what?
It's a tough one. There's a lot of consonants crunched together.
Yidel-caxi. That's my go.
Yidel-caxi.
Alright, we'll see who got closest.
That's not.
He's actually. So they had to memorize their lines backwards, but also do very specific things to punctuate different words and think about what their characters are doing and feeling too. Like, I'm especially impressed by Cheryl Lee and her, like, sometimes my arms bend back.
I feel like I know but sometimes my arms bend back.
There's so much going on there.
Right. She starts out that line sort of looking terrified, and then gradually becomes less terrified as she says it.
Yeah.
And so when she plays it backwards, it works. It's really weird.
Yeah. We were from The Birds Sing a Pretty Song, and there's always music in the air. Every second of this
And
is
the look
amazing.
of the room, I mean...
Yes, of course, the look of the room.
Our bedroom now looks like that.
Kind of slowly turning our bedroom into the red room with accents. The black and white chevron with the red curtains is just so striking. I mean, I can't look at a black and white chevron pattern without thinking of it. Red curtains could be a lot of different things, but...
I like the chairs in that room, too. If we could ever find chairs like that, we should get those.
Yes.
And there's kind of lamps, too, the kind of like upside-down triangle.
Yeah, those are like big in the 90s, I feel like. What's the halogen floor lamp?
There was like an IKEA lamp or something that it was a little bit like that. But
Totally.
That was definitely the older kind of Art Deco version of it. It was in that room.
Yeah, and then there's the one chair off to the side that Coop sits in, and there's kind of like a talk show setup with the other two.
That's right.
Like, who's going to be the next guest on this crazy-ass talk show?
Then she moved over for the man for the other place. Man, maybe Bob is cut for time, sorry. We're trying to have Bob on again.
Oh, no. What's up with that? And then the weird, like, armless statue back there, also. I'm sure that means something, but I don't have a theory about the statue. Because sometimes it's in the hallway, when he's out in the hallway.
Yeah, they love that statue. It's in every room.
You just move it around everywhere. It's so funny. I feel like you get a little bit of a Black Lodge vibe, because you move the furniture around a lot. You're like, now the furniture is here. Is it future or is it past?
It's true. I put them back where it used to be sometimes. And gaslight unit. What are you talking about? It's always there.
And then the last thing that happens is that Laura stands, walks all weird to Cooper, kisses him, smiles, and then whispers in his ear. His face doesn't really register anything in this version, but then in future versions, sometimes his face does different things, like he looks terrified, he looks surprised. I like that because it's like, it's kind of both a glimpse into the future and a dream. So it's not necessarily going to play out exactly like that. He does things to change what happens slightly. Anyway, he wakes up, calls Harry. There's definitely like a very television cliffhanger. I know who killed Laura Palmer. Just kidding, I don't really know, but I could know.
Well, he doesn't,
he doesn't say that. He says it can't wait till... Or can wait.
It can wait till
No,
morning.
it can wait till morning. And he's snapping, and he's not exactly on the beat the whole time. And his hair, his perplexing bedhead. And then it's not very often that you get an end credit sequence with more visuals. We get more of the man for the other place dancing, and I think that was just because David Lynch super liked the way he danced.
It's a great dance.
Yeah, he's doing it back, but even forward it would be fun, I think. It's a herky-jerky little arm thing.
So he looks really joyful when he's doing it.
He does, he's digging it. He's like so charming at this point, but then later on you're like, oh, that's the evil arm that got cut off. So he's actually kind of a son of a bitch. Right.
He is a doppelganger. Or
Well,
maybe
yeah, they
he's-
all do.
Yeah.
But he's not, I don't think he's the doppelganger. His doppelganger looks pretty fucked up.
Well, that's his evolution. The tree.
No, his doppelganger has crazy eyes.
Oh, really?
You see his doppelganger in the final episode of season 2.
Oh, okay.
And he's
Where
just got like
next time
kind
you
of
see
white
me,
eyes. It won't be me. Yeah.
It won't be me.
And you're like, yeah, that's definitely not you. You weren't kidding.
I actually never noticed that looked anything different from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a lot going on in that scene. I think I'm just like have a hard time thinking it all.
There's a lot going on all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Roadhouse is proud to welcome
Ceiling Fan Award, the scariest moment.
I just find Bob so scary. So, Bob again.
Yeah. But you're talking about the death bag?
No, the first time that you saw Bob in the dream, that was to me the scariest moment.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's pretty scary.
And he's like, Mike? Mike?
Yeah.
Mike, you there, Mike?
Yes, I find Bob very scary. Stop.
Is that you,
like
Mike?
my older sister right now. Like, stop it.
I don't think that's a very scary delivery from me.
He's kind of more whispery, but his face is really gleeful. He's like, Mike. But yeah, he's got big wide eyes, and he's like, ah!
Are you there, Mike? Mike?
Hello?
Hello, Mike?
Ring-a-ding-ding, Mike.
He did a mid-Atlantic accent at first. He's like, is this working? Mike? Is this thing on?
Catch you with my death bag. Mine is is the guy behind Leo.
Oh, yeah.
He's just there, and then he kind of ducks behind the tree. And you're like, what's that guy doing? And then Bobby's reaction to him, too, makes it extra scary. Because you're like, wow, Bobby's really fucking freaked out by that. Yeah. And he's already scared because Leo's right in front of him with a shotgun. Right. So yeah, I think that's a really cool, scary Lynch moment.
Alright, what's your ceiling fan, Brugos?
Still donuts.
That's
I'm always going to hate seeing donuts being left out. No one's eating these donuts. I hate wasting food. It's the scariest part of Twin Peaks.
Alright.
You don't understand how much he hates wasted food. It's his literal worst nightmare,
Don't
apparently.
buy too many donuts. That's the scary. That's what Judy's doing.
And then leave them out in the open air like that.
No one's gonna eat them.
Stacked up in piles.
Make sure you take them out of the box and stack them.
Also, stacking them is like a good way to get any toppings just smeared right off.
Yeah. No one's eating
The topping ratio is going to be all off.
Right.
Very upsetting. Fish in the percolator moment.
There was a fish in the percolator.
Funniest moment.
I mean, come on. It's Coop.
It's the boob.
Harry's nose like that. Ain't that the truth? Why, Coop? It's so funny.
I think Jerry's really funny. I really like Jerry in his first scene. In the whole series, showing up with the sandwiches and his relationship with Ben. Everything about that.
Now, don't you think that those sandwiches also got wasted? He brought a lot.
Yeah.
That's like 4 or 5 of them. They're huge.
Yeah, it's
they're
crazy.
They're not even foot long. They're like a double.
Those guys are supposed to be bad guys.
Right.
Ben is a bad man, and that's what bad men do. They interrupt their dinner to eat a sandwich from the middle.
Not bother you that that's also food getting wasted, or it bothers you a lot more when the donuts are getting wasted?
Well, it's because it's supposed to be good people with the donuts. Like,
right.
Who is the evil person who's putting these donuts out? Lucy's doing some crazy shit.
Well, but they ask her to do
because
it.
Because they want her to do it.
She's doing her job. Let's blame Harry. Harry's probably the one who wants it that way.
It's Harry's idea. I'm sure he's very exact.
Harry's I want them in stacks.
Up 4 high. I want every single kind of donut because I don't want you to learn what kind of donuts I want. What if everybody wants the same donut this day, Lucy? Then you have to have 4 of them. You can't...
Harry's a maniac, I think is what's happening. Lucy's covering for the fact that Harry's like a complete maniac.
That's what I don't like. I don't like that we can't trust our people with authority. This man has a gun.
Yeah.
We trust him. He's supposed to,
He can't even protect and serve pastry, let alone the citizens of Twin Peaks.
Well, he should lose his job over this.
Yeah.
I'll have your badge, Harry.
Well, ACAB, big time. I'm gonna go with the one-armed man left joke.
Yeah, you did.
I just really tickled by that.
Oh, that's your fish in the percolator.
Yeah.
It is.
I could just imagine David Lynch making that joke with his cute little face. All right, the LVP, loser of the episode.
Yeah, I don't know if I picked him before, but it's Harry. Queer Street Harry.
I feel like you haven't, but yeah, I've definitely picked him before. Harry, so. Absolutely 100%. The Queer Street line is... That puts him back in that doghouse for me. What about you?
It's a little crossover episode.
Yeah.
Now that we've talked about it, I guess Big Ed broke his grease gun. He popped it. Just clumsy. Not great work, Ed. And then, he gets it everywhere. Like, don't go in the house. Like, wash your hands.
Gotta be a sink
There's
at the gas farm.
obviously a sink in the gas farm.
Gas farm. Why do I keep calling it barn? Okay.
The gas barn.
Whatever.
It's the dress barn.
I mean, it's got a duck on it, so it's...
Farm and barn to me always mean the same thing. It takes me a second to which
He steps right on him. And then he, victim blames. He's like, well, they were in the way. I couldn't help but step on them because they were in my way. Like, come on.
He was trying to sneak through the house and he did not succeed, and he definitely put it right on poor Nadine. I see it. Big Ed sucks.
I feel like I ruined Ed for you guys, but
that's okay.
Not really that sorry about it.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'm not sorry at all, actually. Just acknowledging your loss that I have caused.
It's fine. It just makes me sad for Norma, because the only reason I liked him in the first place was because he seemed to make Norma happy, but now I realize what a big mistake she's making, and she deserves better. Now I see their whole situation as a tragedy. Okay, MVP. We're ending with the MVP.
Harry too?
Yes, it is, absolutely. Although it was almost Ben, because he's just so gross at the brothel.
Ben is the worst.
The ACAB Queer Street thing is not cool. Plus, I just hate what he's, making fun of Andy for no reason. Just because he can. He's such a bully. Ugh. MVP besides Coop.
Alright, yeah. My MVP is the man from another place.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Especially the end with his dance. It's just so cool, and like it could have been this like cringe goofy thing, and it is just so fucking cool. I mean, it was like 30 years ago, and I remember watching it, and it was such a big deal and so cool, and like parodied on other shows. I just love that.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's definitely in the top 5 iconic images from Twin Peaks is that guy dancing.
Right. It's wild to watch it now. This was like a network TV show in the 90s. Because there's a lot of network television from the 90s that people still watch now, and it's so terrible. And this was before there was so much like prestige television.
It was the first prestige television show.
It absolutely was incredible that this was on TV. But this was such a Twin Peaksy episode. Like, this is everything that you think of when you think of Twin Peaks was like in this episode. There's the weird, quirky humor, and obviously the Black Lodge introduction.
And Cooper solving mysteries through like being psychic, basically.
Rocks
and the weird soap opera dialogue between all the kooky characters. Like, this was like...
And Audrey's dance, too.
Yeah.
Right, that was my MVP, actually. I'm going to give it to Audrey just because I really loved Audrey. And this is like a great Audrey scene. It's pretty iconic. And that's what they pull back to. I think that's what he has her do again in return.
Yeah.
It kind of makes us wait for that scene by having like some really weirdo scenes with her. In the end, like, she gets a chance to dance again. It's a nice like bookend to her arc.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to that scene, which we'll get to when we talk about it. But yes, absolutely. What do you think of Audrey? You think of her dance. And that music. Really her theme. That's her theme song, basically.
Yeah, that music goes through my head a lot.
Really? What are you doing when it goes through your head?
You could be doing almost anything and kind of walk around going, doo, doo, doo.
Isn't it too dreamy?
That one has like kind of chimes. It's the same music the arm dances to, but his has like horns.
It's similar. It's not the same exactly. There's definitely like a through line for Badalamenti's music.
I'm always drawn
bass heavy.
I'm always drawn to bass.
This is very bass heavy.
Yeah, I like the music that's like driven by that bass, basically walking up and down the scale.
I mean, it's all bass and horns. There are other instruments, but the main instruments are bass and horns, which is pretty unusual for a score in general.
When Audrey's dancing to it, it's bells or chimes or something.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like bass or horns.
It's bass, but it's like...
Like that?
Well, yeah, but it's also... you know.
Let's do an acapella.
I think we nailed it.
Take that, Menti.
It's like, what did I do? What's your MVP?
Well, mine is, I'm going to give it to Laura.
Aww.
Because you don't see Laura very often, but when you do, it's so impactful. Mm-hmm. And she's the reason for the season, let's not forget. And I feel like she's kind of got a lot of Marilyn Monroe qualities for me, where I can't take my eyes off Cheryl Lee when she's on screen, and she's just such an interesting performer. And she is so beautiful. It's not often that you get someone that's just so classically beautiful like that, but also so game for all this weird shit, and also brings a lot of her own artistry to it. Like, you can tell that she's not just doing exactly what David Lynch tells her to do. She really thought a lot about Laura Palmer and who Laura Palmer was and her backstory, and they talked about it a lot. So she really understood her character, even when she was kind of playing like a ghostly version of it. So, yeah. It's all about Laura. Yeah. Laura's the one.
That's what you said to me when I called this the Dead Girl Show. There's lots of Dead Girl shows. And you said, this one's great because it's about that girl.
Yeah.
Not about people solving the crime as much. Which is probably debatable, but I think you're right. Like, it ends up being a lot more about her than it seems, even.
It's about other people's relationships to her, but she was just such a special person, is the thing. I think a lot of shows forget about that. They're like, oh, she was a troubled girl and she's dead. It's so sad. But they're like, no, Laura was very special, one-of-a-kind person. And possibly more than even just a person. If you enjoyed this episode of Really Weird Stuff, please take a minute to give us 5 stars on your preferred podcast app, especially Apple and Spotify. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Follow us on Instagram at ReallyWeirdStuffPod, on Blue Sky at Really Weird Stuff, on our website ReallyWeirdStuffPod.com, and on YouTube at Really Weird Stuff Pod. Really Weird Stuff, a Twin Peaks podcast, is hosted by Jessica Baxter and Amy Green. Music by Angelo Badalamenti, Julie Cruz, and Jessica Baxter. Produced and edited by Divine Betty Media. Thank you for listening.